Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I want to come on here and talk about the whole Snoop Dogg controversy with the whole Roots fiasco and then him and Roland Martin, honey, getting into it on social media, okay? So what went down is that basically the other day Snoop Dogg took to Instagram and he went on this huge tirade about basically fuck Roots. I'm tired of all these slave movies. I'm not watching this. You know, he went off and a lot of folks on social media agreed with him, but a lot of folks also disagreed with him as well. You know, even the executive producer, Will Packard, who is also a black man, he came out and he basically said that, you know, he understands Snoop being uncomfortable, but that this story needs to be told. So now after Snoop went on his rant, Roland Martin decided to basically confront him on TV One and, you know, talk about everything that Snoop was saying. I want you guys to go ahead and check out Snoop's rant, Roland Martin's response, and then Snoop's response to Roland Martin, okay? Go ahead and grab your teacups, honey, because what? This tea is piping hot.
No disrespect, but I can't watch no motherfucking more black movies where niggas getting dogged out, 12 years a slave, Roots, Underground. I can't watch none of that shit. I'm sick of this shit. How the fuck they gonna put Roots on Memorial Day? They gonna just keep beating that shit in our heads or how they did us, huh? I mean, I don't understand America. They just want to just keep showing the abuse that we took hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But guess what? We taking the same abuse. Think about that part. When y'all gonna make a motherfucking series about the success that black folks is having? The only success we have is Roots and 12 Years a Slave and shit like that, huh? Fuck y'all, I ain't watching that shit. And I advise you motherfuckers that's real niggas like myself, fuck them television shows. Let's create our own shit based on the day. How we live and how we inspire people today. Black is what's real. Fuck that old shit. Right, Jules?
Now, here what I find to be real interesting, Tom. Here you have Snoop Dogg talking about how he's a real nigga. Well, guess what, Snoop? Had you actually watched Roots, you would have heard the character tell Kunta Kinte that he was a nigga, and he said, no, I'm a Mandinka warrior. Maybe if Snoop actually watched Roots, he would realize that he's not the N-word. Also, but here's what gets me. You've had what? Roots, 12 Years a Slave, and what else? What's up with all of these slave films as if it's just been a plethora of slavery movies that have come out in history? But not only that, Tom, this is what I love. You will never find somebody Jewish who says, you know what, it's way too many Holocaust films. Can we just move on? Can we stop bringing up the Holocaust? Tom, check this out. Schindler's List, Sophie's Choice, Life is Beautiful, Holocaust, The Pianist, Train of Life, Fateless, Playing for Time, The Gray Zone, Seven Beauties, The Counterfeiters, Amen, Angry Harvest. The list goes on and on and on. And those are Holocaust films only in the last 10 years. The fundamental problem I have is this here. Slavery happened. Slavery is real, and too many Americans want to deny what took place in this country. The reality is black folks are survivors since the first slave touched in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. But here's what I also am confused by. Snoop Dogg says they should be making this. I checked IMDb.com. Snoop Dogg has 85 television and movie credits. He talked about successful African Americans. The best success story he's done is Soul Plane. Now, I'm trying to understand. You have the potential to change the game, but you want to complain about somebody else. But also, I got a little problem when Snoop Dogg, who is the producer of porn flicks, is talking about changing the face in terms of successful African Americans. How about this, Snoop? There's an independent film, Delroy Lindo will play Marcus Garvey. Will you invest? Will you be a producer? We also have other movies that you could also be doing. How about that? But when you slam Roots, and when you say we should boycott it, what you're saying is, oh no, we should learn those things. But the fact of the matter is, we should be learning those things, but not just Roots, also other multiple movies. I wonder if Snoop Dogg did an Instagram post on the movie Race that came out dealing with Jesse Owens. I wonder if Snoop Dogg was going to do an Instagram post on a documentary on the 17 other blacks who were actually in the Olympics in 1936. Oh, we can go down the line, Snoop, if you want to. No, here's what I'm sick of, black folks. I'm sick of us saying we want to see more stories. Then when the movie comes out, we say, well, no, not that story. We don't want to see red tails. We want to see something else. We want to go back to before slavery. How many of y'all even have those books on your bookshelves? Wow. See, that's what I need to understand. And so I would say to Snoop, why don't you stop smoking weed and actually bother to call Will Packer or Ava DuVernay or call Spike Lee or the countless African Americans out there who are trying to make those films and looking for folks like you who gonna put their money where their mouth is as opposed to their money on some good weed. All I'm saying is this: we need all stories being told. And if more Americans can own up to the history of America, 397 years that we've been here and how brutal slavery was, we should see that, because just like Jews say, never forget. Snoop, we will never forget. So now the ball is in your court. Let's see what you're going to do for Shizzle, my nizzle.
Good evening. I will not. Nope. You bitch ass nigga. No, I won't. You fat bald head motherfucker. No, I won't. I'm gonna let you breathe, nigga. I'm gonna let my work speak for me. Yeah. I'd rather just talk shit and spit. Mac at you, bitch.
We lit.
Now, snap that. Snap these. You forky dog head bitch, you.
Alright, so you guys just checked out the videos. You guys just saw what Uncle Snoop had to say, what Roland Martin had to say, and Uncle Snoop's response, okay? So a lot of folks want to know my opinion about this because, as you guys know, I am a fan of Snoop. You know, I do like Snoop, but in this instance, I completely 100% disagree, okay? You know, at the end of the day, I get so tired of people constantly complaining. Oh, not another slave movie. I'm so tired of all these black folks being slaves and this, and that, okay? But what I noticed, a lot of people who complain did not watch the Roots miniseries. One thing I've always told myself, unless I've listened to something, watched it, I have no right to really judge or critique it, okay? So before I even did this video, I wanted to watch the miniseries myself, and I spent all day yesterday, honey, about 8 hours straight, because I had DVR'd it because I was out in Vegas when it initially premiered, and I watched everything from start to finish. When I tell you, it was so good. It was well put together. The cinematography was on point, okay? And this is for me coming from, you know, somebody who works in the industry, who works with cameras and all that stuff. The cinematography was on point. It looked like you were watching a real movie. It did not look like, you know, just like a National Geographic special. It looked like a real movie. The angles, the way they were shooting, the acting was on point. You know, to see actors like Derek Luke and Lawrence Fishburne, and then the young man who played Kunta Kinte, I forget his name. He is so adorable. You know, just so many people put a lot into this role. Even T.I. I was really shocked when I seen T.I. He did a really good job playing that character. You know, he was one of those characters. He was a runaway. He wasn't gonna let nobody tell him nothing. He knew who he was. He refused to be on some yes, a master boss type shit. You know, I felt like it was just really good. It was very graphic. It let you know, the things that we went through and how we survived as a people. And I don't understand people feeling shame about this or never wanting it to be discussed or getting tired of movies. You know, what a lot of people don't realize when they sit and complain about these so-called, you know, black slave movies and, you know, we're tired of this narrative. One, you don't realize a lot of people who are involved in these projects also are black. The executive producer, Will Packard, is a black man. You guys are not thinking about the background extras. All these black people were able to work for months at a time, who were able to eat for months at a time off of this. You know what I'm saying? This is black actors and actresses getting jobs that Hollywood is not giving us, that Hollywood is not making for us. You barely, if you see a movie, you might have a token black person here and there, but you're not going to see a whole cast full of a bunch of black people. And it's sad that it's like that, but it's the truth. So now with that being said, I'm not going to lie, when I first heard that Roots was making a remake, because I didn't know anything about this until I started seeing the previews. It's obviously keeping this really, really hush-hush because they didn't want a lot of backlash early on the project, which I respect that they kept it hush-hush like that. But when I initially heard it, I was like, you know what? Oh my God, not another Roots remake. Do we really need a remake of Roots? But when I sat and I watched it, I really genuinely did enjoy it. I really liked it from start to finish. It made me angry. It made me upset, but it also made me happy, and it also reminded me of how much, you know, we went through as African people, you know, up until modern day African Americans, and how resilient black people are. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. And I do get tired when people say, you know, just forget about slavery, move on. You know, slavery was so long ago. But if I was to get on camera and say, forget about the Holocaust, that happened a long time ago. You know, the Jewish people are free now. That would be insensitive. That'd be wrong. It's not okay for you to tell Jewish people to forget about their heritage and what they went through. So why is it okay for the world to tell us as black people, as Africans, people of African descent, African American people, to just forget about slavery and to just get over it? That's not okay. Also, we need to also remember that this generation, they're not learning anything in school. And it kills me how much stuff I'm having to like just constantly talk to my boys about because they're not learning it, especially when it comes to black and African history, okay? If you guys remember last year in Texas, the school board literally put out new textbooks, new history books, and in these history books, they were minimizing slavery. They were literally explaining it in these history books that Africans migrated to this country looking for jobs, and that most Africans were indentured servants and they got paid. Slavery was just like a really, really small thing. That's bullshit, and they're rewriting our history to our children, and we need to make sure that we're drilling this into this generation's head so they know where they come from and that they should be proud of that. The reason why so many kids act up is the fact that they have no knowledge of self. They don't know where they come from. They don't know anything about their history. They're not being taught this. I remember when I was in 5th grade, and I will never forget how our teacher taught us about slavery, okay? Our teacher was a white man. His name was Mr. Dwight Johnson. One of my favorite teachers ever, okay? Just a really cool guy, you know, real positive. And I remember we were learning about slavery. And what he did, he took all of us. He made us push all our desks to the back of the classroom. We had to push everything back against the wall. And he made all of us lay on the floor next to each other, side by side, like we were on a slave ship. There was somebody's shoes hitting the top of my head, okay? And he literally packed us on the floor like sardines, and he made us sit there for 30 minutes and told us to think about what the slaves went through during that middle passage. And I remember somebody was like, well, what if we, you know, I have to use the bathroom? And you know what Mr. Johnson said? You went to the bathroom on yourself. And I remember us as 5th graders just like, oh my God, we have to pee on ourselves and do the number 2 on ourselves. But you know what? I never forgot that lesson that that man taught me. And unfortunately, my kids are not getting that education because if a teacher was to do that now in 2016, there'd be all types of riots and, you know, this racist teacher and how dare this teacher put our kids on the floor and remind them of where they come from. And this was every child. He didn't do this to just the black kids, the white kids, the Asian kids, the Mexican kids. He wanted every race in his classroom to know how it felt to cross that middle passage. And those are lessons that stick with me to this day. You know, and it's just sad that we're so quick to dismiss that and want to ignore that and want to just forget about slavery and forget about the atrocities and move on. Yes, we can move on. Yes, we can be cool with other races and be cool with white people. You know what I'm saying? I hold no hate in my heart for anybody. But I'm damn sure not going to forget about what the hell happened to black folks and, you know, what they had to go through. So I just find the whole situation crazy that, you know, Snoop is talking and he's so upset. But again, like I always tell people, if you want to see something different on television, if you want to see something different in the movies, you have to put your money where your mouth is, point blank, period. You have to finance that. If you want to see something other than slave narratives, you need to pull your money and resources together. You need to finance that, okay? So I agree with everything that Roland Martin was saying. And the fact that Snoop Dogg's rebuttal was to call him a fat, bald-head bastard or whatever the hell he called him, it just shows you that everything that Roland Martin was saying about Snoop was right, okay? You know, when you have to go to ad hominem attacks, when you have to attack somebody's physical appearance as opposed to addressing the issues that are coming out their mouth, that shows me right there that you already lost the battle, okay? So I did not agree with Snoop's response to Roland Martin. Everything Roland Martin said was on point. If we're tired of reality television and we're tired of the Mona Scotts of the world, then you need to create your own story. But see, the problem is a lot of folks talk it, but they're not about that life. A lot of folks talk about how they want change and they want to see something different, but when you give them something different, they're not about that life. You know, and I learned that myself, you know, this year on my channel when I went to the Million Man March and I recorded all this video for people and I brought people there, you know, front and center. And till this day, those Million Man March videos only have about 2,000 to 3,000 hits. But I can talk about any random celebrity. I can talk about the Kardashians and Black China, and I'll get easily over 100,000 views. So again, you know, people say what they want, but they're not really about that life. Actions speak louder than words. And if Snoop really wanted to see better, and if he was really tired of these slave movies, he would be taking that same money that he's using to produce porn. He'd be taking that same money into producing a positive story about black people. You know, so I just find that really funny. It's like, we'll support the fuckery. You know, we'll support, you know, the gangster stuff like Straight Outta Compton. And I'm not knocking that. As you guys know, I love that movie. I was involved. I was there. I was on the set. I was in the film. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking it. What I am saying is that it's so easy for us to support that type of narrative. But when it comes to the slave narrative, we get comfortable. We get upset. We get angry. And that makes no sense to me. So anyways, you guys, I don't want to make this video too long. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Let me know your thoughts on this entire situation. Once again, concerning Roland Martin and Uncle Snoop. Do you agree with Roland Martin and everything he said? Or do you agree with Snoop Dogg? And then how do you feel about Snoop Dogg's rebuttal to Roland Martin? Do you feel like it was disrespectful and that, you know, he didn't hit the points that he needed to hit? And then also, how did you feel about Roots? Did you get a chance to check it out? Did you guys like it? Did you guys like the cinematography? Did you guys like the fact that, you know, again, black actors are working? You know, they're actually able to show their craft. They're actually able to, you know, get out there and put themselves in the forefront, because so many times we're not able to tell our stories because these roles are not written for us. You know, Viola Davis said this when she won her Emmy. You know, there's a lot of black actors and actresses. There's a lot of talented black people out here who want to get in the industry, who want to be actors and things like that, but the roles are not there for us. So again, if we want these roles, we have to create them ourselves. And if you're just going to complain, then you're just part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces. Hey, you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.